Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Oh my gosh, today is an amazing day. It's a fantastic day. I don't know if you caught the beginning when we were in here just kind of cracking up because somebody said something. I don't know who that somebody is. But you are tuned in to the American Cream Show. Cream is a financial educational show where every week we consistently, continuously show you, lead you, guide you on ways to redefine the American dream on your terms with Cream. And Cream stands for credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset. On Facebook Live and YouTube land, I am your host. And Tavaris to my left is also your host. So you get two hosts. T, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, Good morning, everybody. It's a little chilly outside. That's why I got my sweater on. As Heisey just said, I'm Tavaris Jones, licensed stockbroker, licensed life insurance and annuity broker as well. And yeah, we both got on our sweater, so it's really telling the temperature. You know what I'm saying? What's going on outside? You got your ginger and what's in there? Garlic.
It's garlic. I never had juice with garlic in it.
Yeah, Antonio is famous for making that. You know what I'm saying? Antonio, I think he should start a subdivision. You know what I'm saying? Like a juicing.
Juice?
A juice. It wouldn't be a restaurant.
Yeah, I would say like a juice bar.
Yeah, there you go.
A juice bar. But it's so many ways to slice up that juice bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's great with making juice. But if we say, you know what, just start a juice bar, not him because we know he's ambitious. But most people be like, dang, that's too much work. But if you know you're great with making something or doing something, there's so many levels to it.
Right.
So we know that the juice bar is a long-term goal. I heard you talk about that on your Wednesday show. Shout out to the Rising Solution on Wednesday. If you didn't catch that show, you got to go back and catch that show.
Yeah.
So on the Wednesday show, they talked about long-term goals and then how to break them down step by step.
There you go.
So as T was saying, Antonio makes these bomb juices. He be blowing my mind with the juices. And he's like, he should start a juice bar. You're right. But right now, what he can do within the next 15 days, 7 days to monetize his juice making skills is create a juice recipe book.
There you go.
An ebook download.
There you go.
Ebook $9.99.
Yeah.
So many people never made juice before.
Yeah, and I think it'll really do well because I just ordered a book on juicing because Antonio inspired me. So I ordered a book on juicing from Amazon, and it was on back order. I mean, it was sold out.
Wow.
So Antonio, that's a window for you, brother.
Yeah. E-juicing ebook. What is it? Juicing ebook.
Juicing ebook.
Because I've made juice for years and garlic is breaking everything up. What the stuff I didn't know I had in here is coming out. So, all right, we rocking and rolling this morning. I hope you all stick and stay. I am Hyacinth Henderson. Been at the Henderson Financial Group for 18 years. 2021 will be my 19th year. Yes, I started fresh out of the womb. That's how Mr. Henderson rocks and roll, but it's all good.
I'm not even 18 years old. Y'all heard that?
Right. So, so by trade, I'm a licensed stockbroker, licensed investment advisor, as well as an insurance and annuity broker. I am passionate about the people. I am passionate about financial education and information so that we can get to the elevation. All right. So if you're new here, sit tight, strap on your seatbelt. Welcome. Hit the like button, hit the share button. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Hey, family. Hey, y'all. Hey. All right. So today we are going to be talking about boom. What did the title say? The title just comes how to add more money to your hour.
Yeah. Definitely. So you want to talk about the holidays?
It's your world.
Okay.
It's your
so
world.
Yeah, the holidays coming up. It's the last show before the holidays, whether it be Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever you celebrate. You know, it's a lot of gifting going on. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's important to make yourself whole before you make somebody else whole, right?
Okay, definitely.
And what I mean by that is a lot of times we go out and spend all this money on other people, you know, whether it be shoes, clothes, gadgets, tablets, you know, headphones, you know, all these different gadgets. But I think if we took this time to use that time, that energy, and also that money and invest it in ourselves first. You know what I'm saying? We can make ourselves or plant a seed within ourselves so that next year, 5 years from now, we can bear fruit and then share the fruit with our loved ones. You know, our boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, kids, mom, dad. Just reversing the psychological, reversing the traditionalism of the holiday season by going out and buying stuff. You know, I feel like if we can use this time to invest in ourselves, I think that'd be super dope.
Okay. So you don't buy nobody nothing.
Don't buy nobody nothing. They'll be all right. Them kids will be all right.
Some people might lose friends, family, lovers. You ain't buy me nothing for Christmas. I ain't talking to you.
You might lose friends, but you find yourself and you gain yourself. So which
Okay.
one is more important? You know what I'm saying? So that's what
Okay.
you got to weigh out your value system.
Okay.
And we're going to get into that today, speaking of value.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so T says don't buy nobody nothing.
Don't buy nobody nothing. But you know, my thought process is always out of the societal norms, you know, with the whole $10,000 before you date and don't buy your kids nothing for Christmas, all that good stuff. But it's for your greater good, you know what I'm saying? And you don't have to agree, but I wouldn't give you nothing that I wouldn't take myself.
Okay, I like that. And listen, it's almost 8 billion people on the planet.
Right.
So for some people that's gonna resonate well.
Right.
They're gonna be like, oh good, T just freed me. I ain't buying nobody nothing. And some people might be like, nah, I'm gonna buy something, but maybe I will do it a little bit differently. I will be conscious of how I do it. Whatever you decide to do, the choice is yours. If you haven't heard me say it before, I'm gonna say it real quick again. Something that I used to do when I used to buy Christmas gifts for my child. Actually, my son's born on Christmas Eve. He'll be 10 next week. I never bought him a birthday gift because he'd have a party every year. So this year I got to buy the man a birthday gift.
Okay.
Because all y'all gifts was like, here go all these gifts, like or whatever. So anyway, but if you're into that thing and you're thinking of how to be more financially conscious, how to be more money conscious during the holiday season, because you usually break the bank and you don't want to do that no more. You're like, you know what, it's different. And we going into a new season, new year, I want to do something different. Something that used to work for me and my daughter when it was just her and I, shout out to my baby Platinum, she's 20. I would give her 4 gifts. Something to do, something you need, something you want, and something to read. Something to do, something you need, something you want, and something to read.
I like that.
4 gifts.
I like that.
Easy peasy.
I like that.
So I'm not getting whatever's the latest advertisement says. We're not going through. We're not doing that. So that may be something for you to consider and take the pressure off. Take the pressure off yourself. And for me, anybody who gets upset because I don't buy you a Christmas gift, then I know we don't even need to be doing this no more.
There you go.
Right. All right. So today we're going to talk about adding more value to your hour, adding more money to your hour. Yes, Islam. He's 10. Can you believe it? He's 10 already. Islam remembers when I was pregnant, when he was a little baby, crawling around the office. Because with him, I had him C-section, a week home, and I was back in the office, and he was crawling around. But yeah, he's 10. He'll be 10 next on Christmas Eve. So adding more money to your hour. And people are like, how can I do that? Because an hour is an hour.
Yeah.
It's 60 minutes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't get no more than 60 minutes.
Yeah, you may not get no more minutes, but you can get some more money.
Talk to me about that, because I think all of us want more money in our hour.
So now we all heard the phrase time is money.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Time is money. Time is money. That floats around so much, right? Now that's I would say relevant when a person is exchanging time for dollars.
But most people do.
Most people do.
Break that down, because when you say most people are exchanging time for dollars, that sounds fancy, but I want to, I want you to break that down for the people in the back.
So that's going to be somebody that has an hourly wage or an annual wage, so it's saying you get paid $25 per hour. There's a dollar amount tied to amount of time, $25 per hour. And then you also may have somebody that get paid $80,000 per year. You know what I'm saying? So that's also somebody that's exchanging time for dollars. You see how the money and the time, whether that time is per hour or for the year, is still connecting. And that's your rate. You know what I'm saying?
So what about those people? Because I like that. I can get a visual with that. You like, you make $25 an hour. I understand that. But what about those people who don't get an hourly rate, don't get a monthly salary, and they're like self-employed or entrepreneurs? How do they exchange time for dollars? In that sense, let's go back to Antonio and his juicing business, right? So if he opens that juice bar, when that juice bar is closed, he ain't making no money.
No, not at all, because no customers can come.
Right. He has to be there to exchange his time for customers' dollars. But a quick tip, how we just started off the show, was if he creates a juice ebook, he could be sleeping.
And people can be ordering the ebook.
And he's no longer at that moment exchanging time for dollars.
Right. So even entrepreneurs exchange time for dollars. So you have hourly wage employees, annual salaried employees, and also entrepreneurs that have to be hands-on with their business to turn a dollar. right?
And we were raised like that, most
Definitely,
of us.
definitely.
Right?
But that's why we're here,
Yes.
to give a new thought.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It reminds me of what I used to hear back in the days. You don't work, you don't eat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I hear exchanging time for dollars. It's like, you don't work, I'm not doing something, then I ain't getting no money coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But today, you're going to bring us something that makes us stretch our brain, stretch our mind, stretch in this season of ending one year and going into another year. You're going to have a stretch so that we can go into 2021 charged up, revved up, and ready to say, you know what? I know I've been taught, born, and sold and raised to exchange time for dollars, but I'm going to do things a little bit differently now.
Yes.
So
yes,
what you
yes,
got
yes.
for us, T?
So first we started off with time is money, right? Now it's a flip side to that as well, where money is time, right? Money is time. And basically what that's saying is the more money you have, the more freedom you have, right? When I used to work on South Beach, I was a bellboy on South Beach, and I used to be standing in front of the hotel, and I see people of all walks of life, you know, from rich to the super poor to super rich, right? And I noticed the not so rich people like myself, we was hustling and bustling. We had a job. We was, you know, rushing to get our job. You see valet guys running up and down the street to get cars. I'm moving bags from, you know, the car to the rooms and all that good stuff. But then I'll see super wealthy people get out of a Porsche, get out of Rolls Royce, and they just walking so slow. You know, they enjoying their time. They can, you know, have a phone conversation and just walk up and down. It's like no rush at all. And that showed me, man, they were able to do that because they have the time, they have the money to control their time. And I instantly created a phrase, right? Dollars equal freedom units, right? So dollars. If you say, I'll break that down for you. Let's say your phone costs $1,000, right? If you substitute the word dollars for freedom units, I think that your whole thought process on spending money would change, right? So instead of saying my phone was $1,000, my phone was 1,000 units of freedom.
Well, here it is. My phone cost me
1,000 units of freedom.
Yeah, baby. I love that. You know why? Because we all want freedom.
Definitely.
And it reminds me of a saying that I say all the time. I like to buy my freedom.
Yes.
And I equate that with my work ethic and what I do and why I'm always learning and educating and working. It's because I'm like, I want to buy my freedom.
And when you it's like when you have money put away, you got assets and stuff like that. Mr. Henderson and Miss Linda was talking about assets and income and stuff like that. So when you have those assets put away and they're growing, that's your freedom stash, right? Now, when you go in your freedom stash to go buy a $30,000 car, you just reduce your freedom stash in the amount of $30,000. So you kind of went back to the plantation, 30,000 units or 30,000 steps. You kind of went in the opposite direction, right? So the more one has, you're like an escaped slave, if that makes sense.
I can dig it. But as I'm getting this visual, right, and I'm like, all right, I'm picturing all my freedom units. I got them like stacked up to the side, like I got a whole building full of freedom units, right? Get the visual, right? And I'm like, okay, so if I got a whole building worth of freedom units, and I want a car and it costs 30 grand or 50 grand or 100 grand, I got this whole building worth of freedom units. I'm not gonna really feel it,
right?
As opposed to someone else who may have 10 freedom units.
Right.
Or they only have freedom units in a shoebox under their bed.
Right.
So if that's the case and you want to use some of your freedom units to buy a car, you're going to be like, I don't know about that. How am I going to do it? So then you got two options. You're going to either hold tight to them freedom units that you have, or you're going to figure out a way to get you some more freedom units.
There you go.
AKA get you some more money.
There you go.
So we're talking about in an hour. Within an hour, you have to start thinking about, and I love when you gave the story about working on the beach, because this is real life examples. We are always being taught things and sent little messages in everything we do. So that you working on the beach and noticing people who had lower amounts of freedom units, they're hustling and bustling.
Yeah.
They might be running to catch the bus. I remember when I had no freedom units, I was running to catch the bus. I ain't running to catch nothing right now. Listen,
talk about evolution, right?
Really and truly, but you have to think about it like that, because sometimes we'll be like, oh my God, send me an answer. Y'all give me an answer. And life is teaching you every single day along every step of the way. So when you got more freedom units, like I ain't running to catch no bus. Okay, so how do I get me some more freedom units? Okay, well, there are 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes in an hour. Do you know how much you are worth an hour? I didn't say, do you know how much you get paid an hour? how much you are worth an hour.
Because it's a difference between pay and worth.
Absolutely. Because let me just say this. Your job may be paying you $25 an hour. You worth more than that.
Right. That's the pay.
That's the pay.
That's the pay side of it.
Because think about it from a business side. A business component says if employee A is worth $50 an hour to me and I pay employee A all $50 an hour, where am I going to make some money?
Right.
Where's the margin?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So the business side of it says employee A, you're worth $50 an hour to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pay you $25.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're not used to having freedom units, you're like, okay, I'm rich, right? Around here because I'm getting paid $25 an hour. And that's cool. Right. Stay with us here. But I want you to understand what you're paid an hour and what you're worth an hour are two different things. So now the next question becomes, all right, Heisey, I'm picking up what you're putting down. How do I figure out what I am worth an hour?
Ding, 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 ding,
Ding,
ding.
ding, winner, winner, chicken dinner. This is where we come in.
You thought you never asked.
Right, right. You don't say. How does that happen? All right. So today's show, we're going to show you how to evaluate how much your hour is worth to you. An hour worth to me is different from what an hour is worth to T. It's different from what an hour is worth to Antonio. It's different from what an hour is worth to y'all out there listening. And that's cool.
Yeah.
You just got to understand what it's worth, because when you understand your worth, you ain't accepting no discounts. All right, let's get into it, T.
Yeah, so when you calculating your worth, right, the best thing about that is you are, like I said I think I said this on the Wednesday show as well. We all are managers of ourselves, right? We're our own business owners. We're businesses as people, and we have to own that business and take care of that business, cultivate that business, right? Now, when you go get a job, the owner or your higher up, your manager of that business gives you pay. They set your pay.
Right.
But since you're the manager of yourself, you get to set your worth.
Okay.
You follow me? So what you want to do is, we got an equation for you. It's real simple. You don't have to be good in math, right? What you want to do is you want to write down your take-home pay, right? And divide that. So that's after all deductions. So that's after your insurance come out. That's after your, if you got a 401k, if you got, your kids' insurance, all the deductions.
That's the direct deposit amount.
Yes, whatever coming into your
account. And in the
account.
financial world, we also call that your net pay.
Your net income.
Because lots of times I get on the phone with people and I say, is that gross or net? And it doesn't make you bad or good. You just don't know. So we're going to slide that in there. What you taking home, your take-home pay is net pay. So when you hear somebody say, is that net? Yes, it's net.
Yes.
Okay. And while you're listening to this, I see we got 32 people on here. Hit that share button. Share, share, share. You aren't the only one that needs this information. The people on your timeline can benefit from this information. So please, please share this information. All right, see. So break down this calculation, because I want to figure out, I want all the people who are tuned into the American Cream Show and their people to figure out how much they are worth an hour.
Yeah, because just because you get paid, your pay rate is set at $25 an hour. You're not taking home $25 an hour, because you got to pay Uncle Sam for one. So whatever's get direct deposited into your account, your net pay for the week, what you want to do is you want to divide that number by the amount of hours that you worked, right? So that's going to give you your pay, your work pay, right? Now, when it comes to your worth, it's set by you. You can multiply that number by 2. You can multiply that number by 5. You can multiply that number by 15, because you're setting your own worth. That's just like if you hand make this bottle of whatever this is that
Mully and Leaf, shout out
to me.
Shout out to the Mully and Leaf. This is good for COVID season. It's for respiratory function and stuff like that. Mully and Leaf, Amazon. Okay, thank you.
So if you hand make this
Mully and
Leaf, right? You can set your price point at whatever you want it to be, whatever you feel like it's worth. That's what you're gonna set it at. And I own Tavaris Jones. Heisey owns Heisey, so I can set my worth 5 or 10 times higher than my actual pay, my net pay. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you do that. You just want to write that equation down. And what that does, I don't want to go too fast into the next point.
So can I jump in a little bit?
There you go.
Okay, so I like that. So we're going to start with what you're currently getting paid.
Yeah.
And I love that we're going to break that down net, because a lot of times people are like, I make $100,000 a year, but it don't feel like it. Yeah, because you got a lot of deductions coming out. Yeah. So we're going to have that face-to-face conversation with that net pay. And then you're going to divide that by the hours you work a week. Yeah. That's what you said, right? So when you divide that by the hours you work a week, you're going to drill down to an hourly number. Now, when Tavares says you can add 1 times, 2 times, 10 times to calculate your worth, you can't just pull that number out of the sky.
Oh no.
Let me say that if after you leave your day job and you go home and you watching all the Netflix movies, you watching all the Real Housewives or whatever, I don't know what is it called, TV, you're on Instagram, you're doing all this, you cannot just pull a number out of the sky and say, hey, I am worth $1,000 an hour.
It's a difference between smooth silk and corduroy.
Yeah, right. It's a difference between smooth. You want one of your grandparents told you that, huh?
Oh, it actually was in the song. It was in the rap, so I don't remember the song.
Okay.
If it comes to my mind, I'll let y'all know.
There's a difference between smooth silk and corduroy. So how do you determine, how do you tally up, what information do you use to tally up what goes into your work? Let's talk about education.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about formal education. There's a place for formal education. For those of you who are formally educated, kudos to you. Congratulations. But let's talk about life education. Let's talk about you expanding your mind, your knowledge, your books, what you know how to do. The other day, I looked on Instagram and I realized that I had 2 free 1-hour calls via Zoom with someone where I gave them a lot of my knowledge and information. That person went and implemented everything that I said without me. And I wasn't tripping because I know that the people that are for me are going to work for me. But what that said to me was, Hyacinth, it ain't no more free calls, B.
I mean, it's a lesson in everything. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? It's a lesson in everything. And you're going to get your blessing because you blessed that individual.
Yeah,
You follow me?
absolutely. And I wasn't looking at it that way, but
Right.
I'm sharing that with you
But I definitely
because
get where you're coming from.
oftentimes we have conversations and we don't realize how much value we just give
Yeah.
readily without even realizing it.
Right.
It's not until, people start taking your advice and doing the things that you said to do that you realize, oh my gosh, I am valuable in that way. So that's why I shared that story, because I want you to really think about, what do you do? How are you constantly improving yourself? How are you constantly pouring into yourself to increase your value? And once you realize that, then you're going to say, okay, I know they're paying me, and this is not a plug for y'all to quit your day jobs. I ain't advising nobody quit their day jobs. Even if you come to me and you say, Hyacinth, I want to start a side hustle. I got this great idea. I'm going to show you how to build out that idea while you keep your job. Because I'm going to remind you, it's 24 hours in a day and you can do both. You can do both, right? So pulling down that hourly figure, that true hourly figure from your day job is a start. You know what that is. But then think about all the education, the information, the sacrifices you make, all the experience you have, and build that in. Think about who you impact and affect. When you realize who you impact and affect, then you're going to be like, you know what, I'm worth something. But a lot of times we feel like the things that we do, everybody is doing it. Antonio put fresh garlic in his juice. It's a complete game changer. How many of y'all knew that? It was the first time I never thought to put garlic in juice.
Yeah, man.
So when you think about things like that, then you can start to say, wait a minute, is this worth my time? Is it really worth my time? Because I know that my time could be used creating. My time could be used educating myself. And the more you invest in yourself and you create and you start educating yourself and getting bigger and brighter and smarter, then you'll be able to convert your time and the knowledge that you have to more freedom units.
Right.
So with that, Mr. Henderson always likes to say, Hyacinth, you aren't out there digging ditches. No, I'm not out there digging ditches, but most nights I'm on 3-4 hours of sleep. Right? I'm also not getting 10 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah.
Go ahead, T. I feel like you're itching to get in.
Yeah. So when we're talking about worth, right? I think another way to put it is, how much does your time cost? Right.
Okay.
Now, a lot of times, well, if you ask anybody, a lot of people know how much bread costs off the top of their head, how much milk costs, and they definitely know how much gas costs. Right. Now, if you knew how much your time costed, the cost of bread and gas won't even matter no more. You get what I'm saying? Because you're putting that time and that focus. And like Hyacinth was just saying, you got to build your value. You got to elevate yourself before you can put a high price tag on you. You know what I'm saying? You will never see the Motel 6 charging the same rates as the Ritz-Carlton. And it's a reason for that. Right? So when you put your dollar value on your worth, you don't want to have a Ritz-Carlton price, but you providing or you giving a Motel 6 good or service. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if we put more time into focusing on first calculating, doing the numbers first. And after you do the numbers, those numbers are going to wake you up. We hope they wake you up, right? And then you start doing some digging, like, okay, what can I do to improve this number? What can I read? What certificate can I get? What can I do that people are going to pay me for? You know what I'm saying? Because if you sitting around watching TV, or if you're sitting around, on the phone every day, for hours at a time, it's not much value that you're gaining. You can switch those activities for something that's going to enrich you. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny that you mentioned watching TV. The other day, I listened to iTunes on my desktop. I was shout out to me. I was in the office for like 13 hours yesterday. I don't know the last time I've been in the office for 13 hours. I have thoroughly enjoyed working from home. A great deal. 2022, I am not good. I don't know how I'm going to feel about coming back into the office. But anyway, I updated my iTunes in the office. And as I updated it, the homepage started saying stuff about the music awards and things like that. And so from the information that was being shared, I figured or ascertained, is that the correct word? I used my context clues, right? And said, there must have been a recent awards show. And then I quickly thought to myself, dang, I didn't even know that. I didn't know, but there was a time before when I knew when the award shows were coming on. Back then, we would record them. You watch the show. You have your friends. Like, it was a big thing. Like, this award show is coming on, and you want to see this person's performance. But in 2020, I didn't even know an award show was happening. And so what that reminded me is that if you focus on your focus, it's a lot of stuff that you're not going to know is happening.
How much did you get done in that time period?
How much did I get done in that time period? So really think about this, people, because I know when you listen to us, you might be thinking, they make it sound easy and stuff. You're going to have to miss some stuff. You're going to have to miss some award shows. You're going to have to miss some trips. You're going to have to miss some stuff and put your head down in the sand 6 months. And really, you'll start to see the benefits, I would say, after 45 to 60 days. Really, after 45 days. After 45 days, if you silence all the foolishness, don't worry about who's on the award show. Don't scroll your social media timeline. Post what you have to post and interact with the people who post on your stuff, and go. Because you have to interact. You can't let people just post and you hired and mighty. You can't interact with them. You're not commenting back and you're wondering why you're getting low engagement. That's another masterclass in itself, right? So don't go down the timeline looking while you're trying to build a business. You scrolling your timeline is not helping you. So focus on your focus. I would say about 30 to 45 days, you will realize how much you have gotten done if you cut out so much stuff, and your hourly rate will then increase. Your hourly rate, you're strengthening that muscle. You wonder why attorneys charge $500 an hour, $350 an hour when you hear that they're a beast and stuff like that. They charge that because the results have proven, right? Just like when I looked and I said, this man implemented everything I did. The results have proven that having a conversation with me is going to literally change your life. And the results have proven that for attorneys. So they're like, okay, you want to get off, you want to win this case, this is what it's going to cost you. And so as you're building yourself up, I want to tell you can't do both. You cannot live your current life and create your future life. You just can't do that. You're going to have to sacrifice something. And if it were me, I'm going to sacrifice now so that later on I can be living the life that I know that I'm destined to live and I deserve to live. So when you think about, as I was saying about the award show, ask yourself, what do you need to cut out? What do you need to cut out so that you can add in some stuff that's going to add value to you and that you can increase your hourly rate? So back to you working your day job. I want you to continue to work your day job if it's the best day job for you, right? But you also may need to evaluate, are they really paying me what I'm worth? I done been at this job for 20 years. I've gained more certificates. I've gained more education, and they haven't given me a raise. Sometimes people, they know they should be doing better. They also know that you don't know that you should be doing better. Let me say that again. Sometimes people know they should be doing better. They should be doing right by you. They know they should be doing the right thing. But they also know you don't know that you deserve better.
Other people capitalize when you don't know your self-worth.
Absolutely.
Right? Because they can lowball you and make this amount off of you and pay you this amount, and going back to that whole taking time away from the world and silencing what's going on around you. Now, I know we stepped on some toes with that because people love music. People love award shows, right? But we like to let me compare it to nature to give you guys a visual of what Hyacinth saying.
He gonna soften it because I like to tap dance on the toes.
let me give you a visual, right? So if you go, let's say you want this dream body, you know what I'm saying? You want this dream body. You want to go to the gym. Just go to the gym. Work out for 60 days straight. 60 days. Now when you go to this gym and you dedicate yourself to working out, you want to also get on a nice strict diet. get your vegetables in, get your juices in, get your fruits in, right? And other things, you know what I'm saying? But you want to cut the junk food, right? Now, what Heisey was saying, the war shows and the distractions, those are the junk food. To get where you're trying to go, to benefit fully, you have to go balls to the wall in your focus zone. You know what I'm saying? In your desired outcome. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you're looking to get out of it, that's where you got to direct your focus wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a relationship. If you want to be married, you know, you want a successful marriage or a successful relationship or whatever the case may be, you got to put the time into it and dedicate. Dedication is everything.
You know, as you were explaining that, even the balls to the wall part, I got a visual with that as well. I got a visual of flying, airplanes, right? So do y'all remember when you didn't have to pay for check bags? Do y'all remember when you could bring any size carry-on that you wanted to? Drop a 1 in the comments if you remember that, right? So if you've been traveling and you remember there was a time when we did not have to pay for bags. You could check as many bags as you wanted and there were no bag fees. Or maybe for your first 2 bags. I don't know. It wasn't like this. And you wasn't no restriction on carry-ons, right? And so drop a 1 in the comments if you remember that. And also while you're here, please hit that share button. Don't worry about if they like your post. They looking at them and that's all that matters. All right. So people got a little bit out of control with that. And the airlines realize that it's costing us a lot to fuel these planes and our margins are shrinking because we haven't increased the price. We got to do something. So they started saying, we're going to charge you for that. We're going to put some restrictions on the size of the carry-on. You can't carry this big old carry-on talking about you doing it for free. And you can't put 20 bags under the bottom of our plane. Like, we're going to put some restrictions in here. And because we're putting restrictions in here, do you know what people started doing?
They started adjusting.
Carrying less stuff.
Adjusting.
They started carrying less stuff. All of a sudden, when you needed 2 bags plus 2 carry-ons for a trip, when you needed that for a trip, you didn't need that anymore. Now you're like, wait a minute. I remember a few years ago, we went to Thailand. I flew to Thailand with a carry-on. We went to Thailand for 2 weeks with the carry-on. And when you're doing an international flight like that, you get free check bags. But I was just like, you know what? I've been doing a carry-on for so long. Let me see if I can do a carry-on to Thailand. So as you give the example and when you say, how bad do you want it? And Tavaris says, you got to, eat right and do these things. He gave the gym example, the eating right, the exercise and the weight loss challenge example. And I told you to cut out, your music videos and the war shows and all that other stuff. It seems impossible until it's going to cost you. Until it's going to cost you. Until you realize, until you start thinking about, this going to cut into my freedom units. I don't really want to pay for my bags to fly because I don't really need all this stuff anyway. It's costing me my freedom to be watching this TV day in and day out. And I don't really need to do that anyway. And now that I'm nearing retirement, or now that I'm realizing I lost my job, now that I realize I have some expenses that I can't pay for, I'm going to cut that out. Let's do that before that. Don't allow the world and life to force you to have to only take a carry-on.
You got to love yourself first.
You got to know that yourself. If you don't know it yourself, we telling you that.
Right. And if you love yourself in advance, you're going to make moves to better yourself. You know what I'm saying? I call it doing something today that your future self going to thank you for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's saving for retirement. That's getting your, financial house in order. That's getting your mental together. That's getting your health together. You know what I'm saying? So all those things are essential. So
whenever you're challenged, just think about that. Think about the airline. If you're a flyer, you know what I'm talking about. Think about I consolidated all that stuff. I'm good with a little grip. And when you think about what caused you to force you to change, then you'll be like, it was about the money. And generally it is. It always is about the money. So as we're telling you these things, I want you to think about that, and also think about so we talked about your day job. We talked about you increasing your value. Here's what I want you to think of. If you missed the beginning of the show when we were raving about Antonio's juice, remember, we did not just say, Tavares said he should start a juice bar. I agree. But that's a long-term goal. But right now, he going to get some money by starting an ebook. And he going to sell it for $9.99. Boom, free download. Right? And so as you start thinking about what you're good at, as you start increasing your value, because remember, I said it last week, once you learn from it, you can earn from it. That's a mantra. That should be taped to your mirror and your forehead and your car sun visor and inside your journal and in your desk at work and in your favorite book. Once I learn from it, I can earn from it.
Question for you. Now, since you dropped that statement, right? Is there really a such thing as free time?
No.
My point exactly.
No.
Because in that quote unquote free time, you can be using that to learn, right? And then as you learn more, you can boost your income.
Absolutely.
You can change your whole lifestyle. You can change your whole trajectory. If you're sitting in a situation that you really don't like, that outside circumstance is created by something that's internal, right? So how you managing your time? That right there within itself is a gem. And I know this is a finance channel. It's a finance company, and we speak a lot about budgets. I love budgets, right? When it comes to budgeting your income as the money come in, but budgeting your time is even more important, or just as important as budgeting your income. Right? Because if you spend that time on paper, right? Meaning if you put yourself on a schedule and you follow that schedule to the T, if you do that for 2 weeks and measure your productivity level compared to before, man, you can change everything. You can change it. You can learn a lot. You know, spend time with more family, work out more. You know, it's like you find ways to get things done.
I have with my one-on-one coaching clients, I make them do a time audit. A time audit. And a time audit is simply where you track every 30 minutes, you're writing down what you're doing. You print it out, start from the time you wake up, 5 a.m., what are you doing? 5:30, stop, write down what you're doing. And by the end of day one, when you look at that time audit, you're going to be like, oh, I'm wasting a lot of time. It's 6 o'clock, I'm still sitting on the floor on Instagram. It's 8 o'clock, I'm still sitting on the floor on Instagram.
It's like an alarm clock.
So when you do that time audit, because there's no free time. And I've been telling my kids, they've heard this to their blue in their face. Being bored is broke people behavior. Being bored is broke people behavior. And in my house, I replace people with a cuss word. I'm gonna be real with you. Okay. So being bored is broke people behavior. And really what that means is you can't find nothing to do with your time.
Yeah. And when you find something to do with your time, you gotta weigh out the value of that. You know what I'm saying? Because people can say, oh, I'm bored. Let me go watch TV real quick. Let me go play a game real quick. Let me jump on the phone right quick. That's also broke people behavior. I'm going to throw it in there with it.
It is. It's true. Okay, so something else I wanted to, when I talked about social media and how you manage your time and use your time on social media, because I feel like you're going to start thinking about what you've learned, what testimonies you have, what trials and tribulations you've experienced, and realize that they're not just for you, they're selfish. They're for others. So when you learn from it, you earn from it by sharing your story, by creating a product, creating a service, by coaching, consulting people, by creating digital products. You do something like that. And so once you get into that space of like, you know what, Hyacinth, I want to be working my day job while getting money from other sources. I want to be working my day job while collecting rent, while collecting dividends, investments from my stocks. I want to be working my day job while people are downloading my ebook, while they are buying products from my online store. I want to be working my day job while all these things are happening. Products from your online store, e-commerce is big. If you don't think e-commerce is big, if you didn't think it was big before 2020 reminded us how big it is. There are people making hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars not leaving their house from their phone. So when we talk about social media, I want you to understand that social media, there's a group of people who use social media for laughs and giggles, and there's a group of people who use social media to make money. And so once you refocus and you say, okay, now I'm going to start, my e-commerce or my side gig or whatever it is, I'm going to do something to bring in more money. I'm going to do that. Understand that I should not see you posting foolishness on social media. I just shouldn't see you doing that. You just should. There's no need for you to share the news. There's no need for you to share the news story, the depressing news story on your timeline when you are creating. There's no need for you to do that. You have to invest in yourself. As you start to, and that's another thing that goes into your hourly rate. Do you have a coach? Do you take courses? When's the last time you paid somebody to teach you and educate you? Because when you pay somebody to teach you and educate you, you are getting the benefit of their knowledge, their experience, their wisdom for a very small fraction of the cost. We call that investing back in your business. So when you do that, one of the things that I recommend people do is to get a social media coach. Take a social media course, because there is no way you should be sliding in anybody's DMs begging them to buy your product. There is no way. It's 2020. We're going into 2021. There's no way that you should be doing that. You can literally use social media to make $1 million from your phone in 12 months if you use it right.
Now, when you take that course, right, a lot of times people will see a dollar value of a course. Let's say a course is $1,000, right? And that dollar amount, it kind of scares them away from taking that course. But I feel like if you change the way you look at that dollar amount, you know what I'm saying, change that price, instead of looking at it as a $1,000 fee, that's actually $1,000 worth of value that you add to yourself, because then you can also charge other people off of the information that you just gathered from that session, that coaching session or whatever.
You must charge other people.
Yeah.
It's an investment. If you are cutting checks like that and it's not giving you a return on your investment, what are you doing?
You're cutting the wrong checks.
What are you doing? There are two things that you can do with money. Only two things. Only two things. Spend it or use it to make more money. Spending it sounds like going out to eat. Sounds like buying your latest shoes and things like that. You spending it. That's it. People say, what about saving it? You're saving it for what? You're saving it to eventually spend it? Or are you saving it to eventually use it to make more money? So when you see the price tags of these things, if you're shrinking at the price tag, then your mindset needs to be shifted. Because if you're shrinking, you're having a scarcity mindset. Oh my gosh, why am I paying this for this? I can do it myself. Wait a minute. An abundance mindset says, let me cut the check, because if I'm paying $1,000 for this, I'm going to make $10,000 off of it. I'm going to make $5,000 off of it. And it also forces your hand and incentivizes you, if it's your last $1,000, to be like, yo, I used my last $1,000 for this. I've checked the reviews, things like that. I am going to make this work. I at least got to get my grand back.
Yes.
And then some. So it's a mindset. That's why I'm so big on mindset shift, because if you just focus on what you are giving away instead of what you're going to be receiving, then you're going to find yourself out of balance all the time. You're going to find, and it doesn't have to be $1,000. I'm going to give a quick plug. Shout out to King Ashley Ann. If you don't follow her on Instagram or on Facebook, King Ashley Ann, that girl gives out so much free social media content that actually works. And then she actually has paid courses as well. There is no reason for anyone who is a listener of the American Cream Show to not be monetizing their social media. There's no reason for you not to be doing that if you want to make you some money. And then once you start doing that, you'll start to see, okay, my hourly rate has gone up. Do you leave people better than you find them, than they find you, right? When they come and they have a conversation with you, and ask yourself the same thing. When you have a conversation with others, how do you feel? If it was an uplifting, inspiring conversation, if you got some value out of that, you need to be thinking about what you can do with that. What else you got for us?
Now, I'm going to go back to what you said about don't get caught up on what's going out, more so focus on what's coming in. And it's I think if we use that in all areas, though, you know what I'm saying? Like if you watching TV, that time is going out, but what's coming in? You know what I'm saying? If you have a conversation with a friend, that's going out, but what's coming in? And when you do that audit and just paying attention to about outs and ins, because remember, you're a business, right? And your you stand in business is really important. So you got to pay attention to, that bottom line when it comes to your dollar value and also your time.
One of the things I like that you brought us back to that. One of the things that I always say, I be having little mantras, things taped to my forehead. Y'all can't see them taped to my forehead, but they are. They keep me straight. Is this the best use of my time? Hey, Hyacinth, do you want to do this? It's not the best use of my time. No, I can't do this. Would you like to join this? Can't right now. And I'm always thinking, is this the best use of my time? Because when I devote the time to this, I am taking time from that. When you say yes to this, you're saying no to that. That's just as simple as it is. When I say yes to being on this American Cream Show with y'all every Saturday morning, I'm saying no to sleeping in and spending time with my children. I'm saying no to cooking them pancakes on Saturday morning. They ain't going to be able to say their mama cooked them pancakes for breakfast on Saturday morning. Maybe on Sunday, but not on Saturday. So you have to ask yourself that question. Is this the best use of my time? And I'm not saying that everything has to be about business, but everything is about business, because there are some people who you're plugged into. You can spend time with T. You can spend time with, shout out to my girl, Diana George. Shout out to my girl, Sharia Green. Shout out to my girl, Gina Mobley. These are my friends. And I spend time, me and Sharia were at brunch for 4.5 hours on Sunday. We didn't talk about no business, but I was so full after that. That was the best use of my time. Now, there are some people, hey, can I take you to lunch? No, that's not the best use of my time. So I want you to really get this and ask yourself, who are you hanging with? How are you spending your time? And make your decisions before you sit back and kick back and watch that show. Is this the best use of your time? Last night, I had a whole slew of things that I was going to do when I got home. I left here about 9 o'clock after doing Wind Down Fridays, our last Wind Down Fridays. I had a whole slew of things I needed to do today. Cleaning people coming this morning. You know, you got to pre-clean before the cleaning people come. And then some other things that I had to take care of. I called my daughter on my way home, and she said, can you help me take my hair out? And I'm like,
it's not the best use of my time.
I'm like, I haven't helped you take your hair out in at least 7 years. You 20 now. Like, what are we doing? Probably 8 years. But I was like, okay, realizing that she does this every 4 months by herself. She asked me to do it. I had to do it.
That was nice of you.
Right.
That was so nice.
I was up to 1:30 in the morning taking out hair.
Oh, that's cool. But then you can, that's a bonding experience because it's bigger than just taking out hair.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like, if you was focused on taking out hair, that'd be like the person focused on that $1,000 going out for that course. You know what I'm saying? You got more value out of it by spending time with your daughter, quality time. That's your kid, and that's everything, you know?
See how you picked up what I was putting down?
Hey, man.
And that's why I shared that story, because some things I could have said, no, I got to do this. I got a very busy day on Saturday. I have to take care of all these things before I get up to do the Saturday show. But I had to, wait a minute. Okay, my baby's asking me to do this. She don't really, what is she really saying? Well, okay, we can bond. I can help her, assist her. She's crying out for help. She doesn't ask for help. She's like a mama. And then we started watching a show on Netflix while we were doing it. Kings of Joburg. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Y'all check that out. Well, no, you can't check it out right now unless you're taking out hair. So forget I said that. That's not the best use of your time unless you multitasking. All right. But yeah, so you have to evaluate what's going on, because you know I'm big on children. You got to spend time with your kids. You have to pour into the youth. What else you got?
To go back to that point, there's so many kids out here that don't even ask their mom.
Right.
For that, you know what I'm saying? Don't say, hey, mom, can you spend time with me to do this? Some people like, hey, man, I'm going to go in my room, you go in yours.
Oh, yeah, no, them I was thinking the other day, my daughter's 20, and I'd be in the bathroom, she'd be in the bathroom.
That's a blessing.
With me.
That's
they all be there. And then if I look at them, if I slip and have the audacity to want to have a moment to myself, and if I look at them like while I'm in the bathroom, like in the bathroom on the toilet, if I kind of look at them, then they start looking at me crazy. Like, why are you looking at us like that? This is where we're supposed to be. So, yes, I do not take that for granted. She's 20 and still glued to the hip. And so it's a 10-year-old unless he leave me. If he leave the house first, he is cancel Christmas. Taught me a valuable lesson about men.
That's a dope bond. It's a dope relationship.
Thank you. All right. So, so if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the American Cream Show. This is a financial educational show. As you can see, we are non-traditional, non-conventional, but the information that we share with you will literally change your life. If you take it and apply it, you can literally change your life. So while you're here, do us a favor and hit that share button. It doesn't cost you anything. Don't worry about the people if they don't like your post. They're looking at your post. And here's the thing. When I ask you to share our videos and I tell you don't worry about if they like because they looking, that's going to help you when you start sharing your business stuff as well. Because a lot of times we get started and we have this great idea that we have, or this business idea, or something that we're very passionate about, and we may post it and nobody likes it, and so we stop. So you can practice with us and realize, you know what? They ain't like a Hyacinth stuff either, but I know they watching.
And consistency is so important.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing anything, you know, if you're working out, if you're eating good, if you're starting a business, you gotta be consistent. You gotta continue to take those steps. If you don't, you're not gonna get to your destination. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes the journey is everything. And
the journey is the reward.
Yeah, and you got to go through every emotion. You know, it's not going to always be peaches and creams. You know what I'm saying? Right? Hey, I'm living it right now, going through all these different changes. You know, different weathers and stuff like that. But when you get to where you're going, you'll appreciate it.
I love that you said that you got to go through every emotion.
Got to.
And what that means is that's going to test you. How bad you really want it. Because if you're just riding high when you're going through the emotion of happiness and, oh my gosh, I got a great idea and this is just so good. And then you're like, okay, I'm good. I'm a business owner. This is what I'm called to do, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as you get that sucker punch or something happen.
You out for the count.
Right. You like, oh no, this not meant for me. I'm out of here. Then you have to really evaluate. I must didn't want it that bad. So I'm a believer in that as well. You got to go through every emotion when it's hard, when you're on 4 hours of sleep, 2 hours of sleep, when it's 2:00 in the morning and you're like, oh my gosh, I the other night, listen, it's 12 o'clock. We did a Krispy Kremes and coffee run. 12 a.m. after being up all day. So when you start doing that, and I'm like, I could have easily went to bed. Ain't nobody gonna beat me if I don't go to bed. Right?
And that right there shows how mad you really want it. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody not gonna be over you. When you get a certain age, it's like you controlling yourself. You're in your driver's seat. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, do you really want it? You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna expose itself in your actions.
Yeah. So what are you worth an hour? What are you doing to increase your hourly rate? Evaluate how much they're paying you an hour. If they're paying you what you're worth, then good. Do that and get you a side hustle, some side gigs, create something digital that you don't have to exchange time for dollars to do. Entrepreneurs, I'm glad Tavaris called you out because we exchange time for dollars as well. If you are an entrepreneur and you do hair and you make $150,000 a year doing hair, if you break your hand and you can't do hair no more, you're now making $0. Saying any entrepreneur, I want you to understand that instead of you living check to check, you can be living client to client. Same concept. So you have to ask yourself, okay, if I'm doing hair and I'm making $150,000, $200,000 a year doing hair, people obviously like what I'm doing. How can I teach this? Because I have learned it. Now it's time for me to earn from it. I've learned how to do it. Now I can earn from it. Ebooks, classes, things. Listen, you should be monetizing everything. And if you're at your job and you realize that you've taken more certifications, you've been there for 20 years, 5 years, 10 years, and they have not given you a raise, it's time for you to explore your options. One of the things that COVID gave us, they gave us the opportunity to work from wherever you want to work. You can be in Florida working for the biggest and best company in California. And before you were eyeing that job, but because you were in Florida and your husband didn't want to relocate and your kids was the seniors in high school and they was like, Mom, I want to finish our high school in Miami, that was off the limits for you. It's not open for you. Get that. Get that. Working from home is not just doing the same job that I was doing pre-COVID from home. Working from home means I can get a job anywhere I want to get a job at. Because I have these skills and they're going to pay me more. So think about, really sit with and spend some time asking yourself, what is my hour worth? Is that worth an hour of my time? How many freedom units am I earning each hour?
Right. And when you're doing one task, how can I use this one task to create another stream of income?
Absolutely.
Going back to that young lady that's doing hair, right? If she does, while she's doing hair, if she can record herself and create a YouTube channel and give instructions on how to do that particular hairstyle, and if she was to break her hand, that YouTube video is still running, gaining views.
Yes.
And if it's gaining views, she's gaining checks, she's gaining income. And she did it. She didn't have to do two separate things. She was doing hair and recording herself do hair at the same time. So she killed two birds with one stone.
Doing something she already does.
Right. She made 2 checks off one action.
Yep. I love that. And then, so here's the thing. So she can be doing hair, recording the process, putting it on YouTube, getting a check from YouTube, and then getting clients from YouTube.
Definitely.
Because when people share, they're going to be like, oh, she did this. Definitely. I want her to do my hair. Or she showed me this YouTube video. Do you have a one-on-one class? Can you teach me personally?
There you go. It's so many ways to spend $1, man.
Yeah.
It's all in creativity.
Now you see why I say being bored is broke people behavior? Because really, it's so much for you to be learning so that you can earn that it's no reason for you to be bored. Yeah, you have your time where you say, okay, I'm gonna check out, for this period of time, I'm gonna do a reset, an hour a day. What did I used to say? 10 minutes a day. Do your 10-minute a day reset. If you press for time and you're in that season, it's head down season, right? It's head down season. After December 31st, January, February, and March is head down season to all American Cream listeners. So when it's head down season, you ain't going out to eat, you ain't traveling, you ain't doing none of that. It's head down season. You're like, Dag, Hyacinth, that's 90 days. How am I going to get a little break? Here's how you're going to do it. Take a 10-minute break, 10 minutes to yourself. Right? So if you like me, where you work, you do this, you have all these people, you're a caregiver, you got kids, and they be all up right here in your face all day and night, and then the clients right here and then the emails, give yourself 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day, I'm completely disconnected. Not 10 minutes a day that I'm on social media. Not 10 minutes a day that I'm on the phone. 10 minutes a day where I'm sitting with myself in silence and quiet meditation, because you cannot receive, you cannot hear when you're talking. So you're 10 minutes a day, and then you're like, all right, I could dig that. So now you do 10 minutes a day, and then give yourself 1 hour a week. Okay. 1 hour a week. So you got your 10 minutes a day getting you through. And then the end of the week, Saturday or Sunday, you're going to give yourself an hour. For those of you who are on my social media, y'all know I take them Sunday salt baths. You got to cleanse your aura. Get you some Epsom salts, get you some pink Himalayan salt, get you some baking soda, and a splash of Florida water. That's how I spend my hour on Sundays. Spend your hour however you want to spend it. So you got your 10 minutes a day, your 1 hour a week, and then you can take you 1 day a month. So when it's head down season, that's how you're going to get your relief. That's the balance that comes in, because we don't want you burning yourself out. I mean, you got to get right there, almost there, like, oh my God, I think I'm about to be burnt out. And then you come back. Like I remember my daughter was in high school and she was taking all these AP classes, and her mouth was trying to convince me that she was just studying so hard and this and this. And I looked at her, I was like, I can't tell. You look fine and dandy to me. You don't have no bags under your eyes not red, your hair not disheveled. Girl, please try again.
I remember that. I remember that conversation.
I said, wait a minute, I know how I look when I'm head down. And she took that advice. She took that and she got herself together. And then I was seeing, I was like, oh, okay, now mommy will cook you some dinner. Now I'll do these things. And so as you're going through that season, understand if you all well and this, no, baby, you plan. Okay, so 10 minutes a day, 1 hour a week, and 1 day a month. And then if you want to go further, 1 weekend a quarter.
And if you find yourself getting bored within that process, it'll be good to do a mental stretch, right? So if you bored, a mental stretch to me is to ask myself, man, how can I, if you look at your income for the past week and you see that number that was deposited into your account or whatever you bought in, right? How can I double this number? How can I triple this number, right? So that right there would just open your mind up to different creative, do some journaling about, how can you change the situation. That way, and just get your ideas to just get through on paper. It doesn't have to make sense when you're writing it down. You just want to get as many ideas out as possible, right? Because you're doing a mental stretch. It doesn't have to make sense right then and there, and it won't make sense right then and there. And what you'll do is, as you continue to do those, you'll be able to connect the dots, right? And as you connect the dots, you want to follow those dots to then change that situation. Be like, you know what? I don't have any times of boredom anymore, because now I'm putting action behind these dots I just connected by doing these brain stretches. You know what I'm saying? So y'all try that. Yeah,
try it. And the thing with journaling, I'm queen of journaling. I love journaling. Just do it. Just do it. You don't have to have, I love a good journal prompt and a good guided journal. But if you don't, just do a brain dump and save your journals and date every entry. Because here's the thing. One thing I can guarantee you, and as a licensed stockbroker and investment advisor, ain't too many guarantees I can make. But one thing I can guarantee you is when you write it down, it ups the manifestation power tenfold. And then when you go back to read your journal, you may flip a page. You're going to be like, I wrote about this and this is happening now. Oh my gosh, I wanted to do this. It happens. You just put that out there. You start the alchemy process. It just happens. So get yourself a journal. If you want my journal, hyacinthhenderson.com. If not, get you somebody's journal, right? And before we go, I want to share with you, last week I said, you know what? I want some more streams of income. I mean, I'm doing good, but good, better, best. Never let them rest until your good becomes your better and your better becomes your best. Like there's always room for growth. While I'm here, I got to go to the next level. So there are a few things I've started thinking about. What do I use in my life, in my everyday life, that I pay somebody for, that I enjoy, and that I want to replace with my brand. So that's my goal for 2021. So you're going to see different things. And I'm telling you that. And as soon as I ask for that, so here's another thing I'm going to tell you that I do. Before I go to sleep, I intentionally ask for answers. When I lay down, I know that I'm, my belief is my belief, but I know that I'm just not like dead body. Like I'm traveling, right? So I'll be like, all right, tell me what I got to do to expand. You know that I want to do an e-commerce store. Tell me how that looks. And then I start getting the downloads. Okay. So ask for intentionally how that looks. Whatever it is you want to ask for. If you're looking for a bae, listen, am I going to be single forever? I did that too. I was like, what's up? What's going on? And the dream I had, y'all want to hear about the dream? Drop a 2 in the comments if you want to hear about the dream. But we're going to come back. We're going to come back to that. Ask for it. And just that quick, I got so many downloads about the businesses and the things that I need to be starting. And a very small part of my ego wanted to say, Hyacinth, how are you going to do all this? But the soul said, and I'm sharing this because I want you to know that as you start to expand, you're not going to do it all by yourself. When you get the idea and you get the inclination, your job is to start moving. You're going to hire a team. You're going to hire a team. That's how you're going to get more. You're not going to be doing it all by yourself forever. Whatever Whatever comes to you, never assume that it's too big. It's coming to you because you're the one that's going to initiate and start the delegation. But it's not because you're going to be the one doing it all by yourself. Understand that, and don't let that deter you. Well, I'm just right here. How am I going to have this big warehouse full of stuff? How am I going to do this? Don't worry about that. Start where you are. You worrying about a warehouse and you ain't even wrote the business plan. You haven't even created the products. So I'm sharing that with you to understand that you have to start where you are. And remember, the more people you help, the more you receive. So when you understand that I need a team, I'm going to grow and have a team that's going to help me with this business, then you're saying as I grow my team, I'm going to be helping them because I'm going to be employing them. And when you employ people, you keep food in their bellies, right? So understand, it's not going to be a one-man show or one-woman show. Okay, so the dream that I had, this was like a few months ago. I was like, child, y'all got me out here in these streets. This is how I talk to my spirit team. I'm like, y'all got me out here in these streets, and your girl is like pointing to everybody. I'm tired. What am I going to do? Because I know like when one becomes two and whatever else to say in the Bible, but yeah, I want that. Right? So I was like, what's up? I'm going to sleep. Talk to me. Okay. I know my daddy downstairs like, what in the world? So in the dream, I had this dream, and in the dream, somebody was, I was in the house, and I was in the house with somebody who was very familiar to me. And I felt this person's energy in the house, but then I also felt somebody come and knock at the window. And when a guy came and knocked at the window, I immediately, y'all don't judge me. Instead of like looking out the window, looking out the peephole, I upped the fire, right? So I pulled my gun out and I put it towards the glass window when the man came and knocked on the window. And I was like, Tavaris, don't make your face like that. And I was like, okay. So then the energy of the person that was in the house with me was still there, very comforting. And the guy at the window was like, I don't want to hurt you. I just want to love you. Right. And I'm like, all right. And so I woke up. So when I woke up, I was like, Hyacinth, you're guarded. So that's why I've been answering some of y'all DMs. But I'm about to close my DMs because y'all getting way out of hand. So I shared that to say, you will get signs. And when I thought about it, I was like, you know what, you are guarded. People be trying to talk to you. You'd be like, You'd be like, where my person at? But you'd be like, no, don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't see me. So ask and you will receive. That's the only reason why I shared that with y'all. And
Thank
since the dream, you feel embarrassed, huh?
Thank you for
about
sharing
me up in the
that.
fire.
Thank you for sharing that.
Since the dream, I have let my guard down, but I am closing my DMs, and life has been fantastic. My dad's coming upstairs. I gotta go. You've been listening to the American Cream Show. What time is it? Oh, it's 10:20. You've been listening to the American Cream Show. He up here shaking his head. And Cream is a financial educational show where we show you, lead you, teach you, guide you on ways to redefine the American dream with credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset. And before you go, please hit the share button. Share. Don't worry about if they like it. They are looking. T, you got something you want to say, or you Shane?
Love yourself, learn yourself, lead yourself. You know, we'll see you guys. Well, happy holidays, and we'll see you guys next Saturday.
Next Saturday is the first day of Kwanzaa.
It is okay, cool.
Next
Dope.
Saturday.
Dope.
So we'll do a Kwanzaa celebration next Saturday. I'll bring my Kanara and all. Cheers.
Y'all take care.